Hey there, I'm Hannah, an occupational therapist and mom. In this video, we'll be uncovering about play. Now, we all know how important play is in a child's development. The fact is that there are different types of play, and there are stages of play. What do I mean by that? Let's find out in this video.
Sensory Processing Part 3. In this video, we will uncover how sensory processing and sensory play go hand in hand. Now, why is sensory play important in child development? Children, right from when they are babies, are curious beings. They are wired to explore the environment they are in. In doing so, they learn more and more about it. And as they learn, they begin to develop memory and problem-solving pathways. For example, when a child falls and bangs her head on a hard surface like a bed or a table, she learns about pain and the hardness of the surface. She may fall a couple more times, or maybe not, before she learns how to protect herself, or how to navigate around or remove the obstacle if there was any in her path, so as to avoid falling on the hard surface again. At every given moment, we are using our senses to learn from the environment. Sensory play gives that child the very opportunity, however, in a safe and playful way. Secondly, it helps assimilate information that will translate into visual and auditory perceptual skills, memory, and problem-solving skills. When I hide certain toys in a sensory bin filled with rice and kidney beans, the child loves it. The child explores textures, colors, sizes, problem-solving skills like moving their hands around in the bin to find the hidden toys. The child is having fun, possibly even making a mess. But in that tiny brain of theirs, they are assimilating information that will translate into visual and auditory perceptual skills, memory, and problem-solving skills. Research tells us that a child's brain develops completely by the age of 2. So that means sensory play would need to begin right from birth. Thirdly, it creates an opportunity for independent engagement by the child. Fourthly, it facilitates creativity. Fifth, it sensitizes or desensitizes the body to different senses. Sensory play can be very calming to the body. It can also be used to allow the body to get used to certain senses. And lastly, it encourages bonding between the parent and child. Sensory play can be used as a way of teaching sharing, taking turns, using polite words, even at a very young age. Now, what does holistic sensory play look like? 1. It engages multiple senses, using 2 or more senses in combination during the activity. It needs to be a pleasant experience. It is important that we make it calm and pleasant for the child. Our brains are able to process and absorb very little in a stressed out state. Whereas in a state of calmness, the brain is able to assimilate a lot more information. In a child with sensory processing issues, this may be rather tough, but there are techniques to work through it. An occupational therapist will be able to help. It should be adapted to the child's developmental milestones. There's so much that kids learn through life and about life through play. And using sensory play as an opportunity to teach skills is a great way to learn about being without being obvious about it. And we must observe. Observing your child through the process helps gauge so much about them. Their likes and dislikes, their strong senses, their key learning senses, and so much more. Hence, observation is crucial. More than that, to get a whole picture, we need to step back and watch from a distance. So it is important to understand and discern when to step in and engage with the child, and when to step aside and observe the child or let the child engage by themselves. Now, let's look at some sensory play ideas. 0 to 3 months. It's important to note for new moms, this can be a very challenging phase where you are trying to figure your baby and the different rhythms, and at the same time, your baby is trying to figure you and the environment around. So it is important that a mother doesn't feel unnecessary pressure during this time. These are important suggestions that you can use and feel free to play around with, but in a pleasant mind frame. So let's go. Mother's touch. This is so important at this stage to build trust and security. This is necessary and the basis of positively building the other senses. A gentle massage. Gentle massages with leg and hand movement to stimulate the proprioceptive sense. Talking and singing. Describe the kind of pressure and movement that you're making the baby do. Whisper. Talk in a normal tone. Read short stories, poems with different voices. Hanging elements. Hang high contrast ribbons or colored papers on the crib. At this point, just black and white is perfect. Moving on to 3 to 6 months. Textures. Use different textures of material. Not too rough, but a gradient of them to stroke your child's arms and legs. Do not use more than 3 textures at a time, or it can be very overwhelming. Music. Play songs of different genres, tones, and beats. Stories and songs. Read stories with voice modulation, high pitch, low pitch, regular pitch. Sing rhymes and songs using regular pace, faster, slower paces. Hanging elements. High contrast colored paper, ribbons, art pieces can be very engaging for the child. Now let's look at 6 to 12 months. Eating. By this phase, the child begins to explore solid food. Also, it is important to note that their fine motor skills are developing, so they primarily use their mouth to explore and engage. Allowing them to explore attempting to eat finger food by themselves or using their fingers to engage and play with a little bit of food that they're being given to eat can be quite a sensory experience with all the textures, colors, smells, and taste. This is messy for sure, but so much goodness to wrap their heads around. Kitchen-based elements. Since this phase is all about exploring, it is hard to get them not to put toys or things into their mouths. However, they can engage with rava, which can be simulated sand, rice, and other grains, yogurt, spices like cardamom, cinnamon for the scent. Nature. Nature has so much to offer. Sitting and standing on grass or mud, touching leaves, smelling flowers, watching and interacting with other children. Water play. This is such a fun and richly packed sensory activity. Playing in a tub of water with or without music in the background, or a nice swim in the pool. Let's look at 12 to 24 months. Eating. As children begin to explore solids, they have preferred and non-preferred tastes. Allowing them to explore their food enables them to connect and form associations with the visual, taste, color, etc. Research also shows that they tend to be less fussy eaters. Home-based elements. By 18 months, the child may slowly reduce mouthing. When that happens, you can explore paint and Play-Doh bought from the store. If your child, however, continues to mouth objects, now you can make Play-Doh and paint with ingredients at home that are completely safe in case your child wants to give it a taste. These are really fun and cause for a lot of independent play, dancing and singing along to different genres of music, kids' rhymes, and it's a fun sensory activity. The outdoors. This is a really important one as the child begins to now walk independently. The outdoors create opportunities to navigate over uneven surfaces, interact with dirt, catch a ball, meet friends. and water play. Splashing around, having a bubble bath, warm water, cold water, playing with ice. So many variations. And of course, a swim. 2 years and above. DIY, do-it-yourself art projects. This is a good stage to begin simple art and craft that includes various textures and colors. Allowing them to rub glue on the paper, stick paper, shells, or any other elements is a sensory-rich activity and also stimulates fine motor skills. Using sticky tape for activities can be fun too. There are tons of indoor sensory play ideas on Pinterest, Instagram, and other platforms that use different textured materials like foam, boxes, bottle caps, pipe cleaners, ice cream sticks, clips, rice, pasta, etc. to introduce some really fun activities for the kids. Involvement in daily activities. This is a huge one and a relatively easier one to incorporate. Allow the child to participate in their daily activities independently or to the level of independence that they are able to achieve. One example is while having a bath, allow them to apply soap on their own bodies, and maybe yours if you're okay with it. Name their body parts while they do so and point out the body parts that they've missed putting soap on. What this does, it increases their own body awareness while acting on the proprioceptive and tactile sense. Other examples including sorting of vegetables when you buy them from the grocery store, washing the vegetables, brushing their teeth, assisting you while putting their clothes on, or if they're able to put a certain clothing independently, watering the plants, gardening, cleaning, dusting furniture, putting their toys back. They may not be able to do these activities perfectly or as you desire, and that's okay. Although these activities seem so regular, they are filled with sensory elements if your child engages with it independently or with minimal to moderate assistance. Lastly, lots of movement. This is so important at this stage, and not only just to release their energy. Movement teaches the brain and body multiple things, including coordination, muscle memory, strength, stamina, and focus. The two main senses that are used are proprioceptive and vestibular. Some examples are park visits with the kids, with the play equipments that they can use, choosing a sport like swimming, football, simple games like catch and throw, catch me if you can, running around, doing some simple exercises. With that, we come to the end of our 3-part series of sensory processing. I hope you found it meaningful and relevant to your context. If you have any questions, do write to us on the Playdate community at gmail.com or post in the comment section below.
Thank you for watching. If you found this video meaningful, kindly like it, subscribe to our channel, and share it with a friend who might need to hear this.